All right, Ian. How do you access the CU Podcast Patreon? Stop looking at Meredith Baxter Burney.
How do you know what I did? I Googled Meredith Baxter Burney.
How do you access the CU Podcast Patreon?
You go to patreon.com/CU Podcast, and I need to do a writing today.
You do, Ian.
We're going to say that right now. I'm sorry.
Wow, Ian never apologizes to me for it.
I'm sorry. I'm apologizing to you. I need to write a writing today. Today. All right. You go there. And I do the writings. I do a hangout. Got to schedule a hangout. My God, things I need to do. The world. Yeah. It's falling
apart.
It's falling apart.
Health crisis.
Meredith Baxter Burney is not there.
No.
I
haven't heard of Meredith Baxter Burney in years. Anyway, go. So we have a Patreon poll once a week, Ian. In third place, discuss Levi's new Mario collection. 24%. No one cares. But no, 24% cared. In second place, 33%.
Oh, man.
Will we ever see another major console that is not Nintendo/Sony/? Microsoft, only 33%. That's actually strong for second place. In first place, 43%. Finally, movie/TV properties that should not, for whatever reason, have not been made into video games. Ian, what are some IPs out there from movie or TV that should not have ever been made into?
Fucking Cool World probably shouldn't have ever been a video game.
At least on the NES, because that was more of a kiddie console.
Yeah.
Was that on Genesis as well? Or Super? It was on Super Nintendo.
It was on NES and Super Nintendo. Also,
why Cool World?
Well, one, there's not really a game there, but it's also very, very.
It's adult.
It's adult. Yeah. It's racy. Another one that always gets me is Toys. The movie Toys, the Robin Williams vehicle Toys.
What was that about? That the bomb?
It didn't do well.
That was on Super. Was that on Genesis as well?
Yes, it was.
Okay. What was Toys about, Ian?
It was. I'm trying to remember exactly. It wasn't a video game movie. A high-tech toy factory falls into the hands of an army general who turns the models into killing machines. The deceased owner's children know what's afoot, and although apparently powerless, have to find a way of bringing down the night. Actually, that sounds like it could make a video game.
It could.
It could make a video game.
But it's a little complex in the thematic offerings they're going on for a video game, right there. Kenneth the Zevo, the owner of the Zevo Toys Factory in Moscow, Idaho, is done. What the fuck? And I guess so I guess they bring in Robin Williams to save it, I guess. It bombed, by the way. I've never seen this movie. The budget was $50 million. It made only $23.3. That lost a lot of money. Robin Wright was in it. Wow, young Robin Wright. Nice. Joan Cusack was in it. Michael Gambon was on it. Gambone? Is it Gambon or Gambone?
Gambone.
Did he just die? Is he still right? No, he's still alive. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Anyway, that sounds like a weird but it's called Toys, so we got to put toys in the game.
Right.
And you shoot tanks and stuff? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a weird one.
Hit me.
Oh, God. I want you to say me.
Hit me with one.
The one that... I'll stick with NES. Hudson Hawk was an R-rated movie, violent movie, with some weirdly violent moments in it.
I love Hudson Hawk.
That was over the top in its comedy, but it was violent, though, too. And they decided to make that into an NES game because a lot of kids, saw the Hudson Hawk movie when it came out. No one did. That movie bombed, actually, when it came out.
It's a fucking great movie.
You can say what you want. I've only seen bits and pieces. Bad idea for an NES game. It's
an absolutely awful idea for an NES game. You want to know something? I like the first level to Hudson Hawk.
With the dog?
The first level in Hudson Hawk is interesting because you have to play the game very stealthily. And it's neat because it actually works. The first level of Hudson Hawk is fun. That's right, I said it. Fun, with an emphasis. It's got some fun to it. But
I'm gonna lower my volume.
But they don't keep up with that as the game goes on. They try to make it more action-packed, and the game controls like absolute dog balls.
Controls like dog balls?
Absolute.
You're using the dog balls?
Absolute dog balls.
Thumbing those dog balls?
Thumbing those dog balls. Just fucking... Ew. Gross.
Let's just stick with the NES because you can go through half of the movie games don't belong on the system. Nightmare on Elm Street. I like the game. Probably shouldn't have been an NES game. Originally, you're supposed to be Freddy and kill kids. That would have been inappropriate, probably. That probably wouldn't have got past the censors for that.
I would have been fine with that. Would have been okay.
But you know what? The way it's structured, it's still fine for kids. It's kind of scary for kids though. I think it's a great port of. I mean, how is he going to port the movie to that? Friday the 13th to me, that gets into a little more inappropriateness when it comes to the NES, because it's like, collect the hatchet and the fucking and the machete and things. It's like, okay, now you're veering off into the R-rated a little bit much. But again, for a game like that, that's probably the best thing you could have done in terms of it there. You know what shouldn't have been ported over? Back to the Future, because it's a horrible game. It has nothing to do with the movie, just about.
Yeah.
So yes, sorry, Rue, and it's not a shooter. It's still not a shooter.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it just, a lot of the movie-based games, I mean, if you want to go with what's appropriate at the time.
Here's the mini game where you have to prevent your mom from making out with you.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you want to go based with, like I said, with what's appropriate at the time, you can make arguments for Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th not being there. They shouldn't have been there because, it was violent, but you could still work a video game out of that. There was nothing in Back to the Future.
No, nothing.
Not a thing in Back to the Future that was ripe for video gamification.
A skateboarding, that could have been
right,
but there was no structure to the film. There wasn't like a bunch of action sequences that you could even build it around. I mean, Back to the Future action sequences, if you count the ending as an action sequence, which really isn't really action, you have, yes, the skateboarding away from Biff, and then what other action is in the movie?
Right.
There's none. That's why you had to do like the mini games where, play the guitar on the stage and capture the notes. Capture the hearts of your mom, your mom in the classroom. That's bizarre. That's what there was no milkshake scene in the movie throwing milkshakes at people.
A couple other ones that jump to mind for me.
I got the big one that you might bring up, but go ahead.
Wayne's World. What the fuck are you supposed to make a video game out of with Wayne's World? Blues Brothers? The fuck are you supposed to make a video game out of with Blues Brothers?
Why did they make a video game of Blues Brothers when the movie came out like 12 years before?
Home Improvement on the Super Nintendo.
Yes. And they made it so that like you're on the show, I guess, and you're still. What's the story behind Home Improvement? I should know. I didn't do the review, but it's in the book. Here.
So I mean, those are ones that really jump to mind.
You're missing the big one.
Huh.
Well, okay. Here's another one. Darkman. At least that's action,
I guess.
But that was R-rated, wasn't it? Was that R-rated?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not so worried about R-rated because, I mean, we've got violence today. I'm talking about the stuff that absolutely had no fucking basis for a video game.
Because even Predator, it's an action
movie.
could.
I mean, yes.
I don't care. Platoon should not have been a video game. Yep, I don't care on the NES or the alternate versions on like the computer. Platoon
right
is
now, you don't do it.
Anti-war film. The action scenes in Platoon are not meant to be cool. Everyone dies horribly. Most everyone dies in Platoon.
Yeah.
The message is war is bad. It's the worst case scenario. Not let's go shoot the Viet Cong and have fun jumping over trip wires. Platoon is my nomination for the worst IP to become a video game because of that.
Yeah.
But they licensed it. They got the money from Ocean and whoever else to do it for I think the computer was Ocean, and then it was Sunsoft. I don't know, I forget who developed it, but it's so tone deaf to the point of like you don't want to go back and watch Platoon when it's over. It's that sad.
Yeah,
like it's not like Batman the video game. It makes sense. So you're punching out. No, people die bad, gruesome deaths. They find the fucking people hanging in it from the Viet Cong killing them. It's bad.
Yeah. What's next? Are we going to get a fucking EA licensed game based on the Deer Hunter?
I mean, so yes. Russian roulette minigame. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Would Full Metal Jacket, the video game, have been better or worse? There's more action in Full Metal Jacket, I'd argue. You could probably make that a video game before Platoon even. But you shouldn't make them video games. Here's the jelly donut eating a minigame from the first half of Full Metal Jacket. Full Metal Jacket's brilliant. I like it better than Platoon, by the way. I love Kubrick. Anyway, so those are nominees on the top. I'm sure we're missing a ton.
Oh, I'm sure we are.
I would argue Dirty Harry should not have been a video game on the NES or computers. Because Dirty Harry, the first one at least, was a crime drama, and it wasn't overly, Clint Eastwood just shooting people, in the first one, even though he still shot people. But Dirty Harry was like a moment in time that, obviously Deadpool had come out by, they did the Dirty Harry 5 Deadpool. I don't know why I did 5 of them because he was so old by then. He's like 90 now. So it was only 60 then. Anyway, so the Dirty Harry to me was always a weird idea to do a movie back, because that was half of Dirty Harry was sort of a social statement on the times for most of the movies too. There, you think Rambo should have been a video game? Rambo, the first movie. Obviously, Rambo, the video game, is based on like Rambo 3, but at that point you're just gunning down, Russians willy-nilly. The first Rambo is an anti-war film, again, with some action thrown in, but it had to do with treating of our veterans. Sorry. That should not have been a video game, Rambo.
Apparently, Desperate Housewives was a video game for Windows.
What did you look up? Worst IPs to be video games?
I don't even know how I found this.
Because obviously, if we go into mobile games, there should never have been a fucking Watchmen Flash game. Well, Watchmen's not supposed to be a cool, property with fighting involved. Or, it's cool, Watchmen video. No, it's not supposed to be that.
So I just looked up real quick the Desperate Housewives video game.
Okay.
The game begins when a family moves to Asteria Lake, successful doctor, blah, 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 wife with a forgotten past, etc., etc. Danielle Fox, a famous all right. Doctor's wife must battle off a love rival to her husband, his secretary, Jackie Marlin, who stops at no cost to get what she wants.
Is this a computer game?
Yep, and their cranky neighbor, Etta Davenport. Not only this, but she must deal with the antics of her unruly 14-year-old son and the people around him. We also find that the other residents aren't as nice as they seem when a private investigator, Eric Larson, shows up in town alongside a shady businessman, Vincent Corsetti, who seems to have ulterior motives. In the end, their secrets are aired to public, and a desperate decision is made in a hostage situation.
Okay.
This is as far. I'm just going to go here. Endings. Desperate Housewives, the game, has 4 different endings.
Okay.
We're going to save the first one for last. The main character lives happily ever after with a husband. The main character lives happily ever after with Eric Larson. The main character runs off with Vincent Corsetti. Or the first ending. The main character shoots everyone.
The wife, the Desperate Housewife.
Yeah.
You shoot everyone.
Yeah.
What console was this on?
It was on Windows. It's Buena Vista Games.
I think we should do a Let's Play of this
2006.
Do you think that's less or more appropriate than Law & Order Legacy's SVU game?
That's bad.
That came out, the trailer was in 2012 for that. Yeah, that looks bad too. Anyway, yeah, so thanks for bringing that to a halt, Ian, about the Desperate Housewives.
No problem.
I didn't even think about TV shows. But, like, how many TV shows from the... They really didn't make a lot of TV show video games in the 90s and 80s, did they? It was mainly just... Besides, like, cartoons, that's for kids.
Cartoons.
But not, like...
Home Improvement.
That's a weird one.
There was no Family Matters game.
Right. No, there wasn't. But there was a Time Tracks game. Okay. Time Tracks was a syndicated show. It wasn't... Home Improvement was, like, the #1 show on TV, or one of them. Time Tracks, Ian, was like a Canadian-produced show that was on for 2 years that also started when frickin' Renegade with Lorenzo Lamas and Highlander the series came out. The difference is this. Highlander was out for 6 years, and that was based upon a movie property. Ender has a shitty cartoon that came out. So Highlander had like a renaissance. There was no Highlander the series video game when that made sense a hell of a lot more than Time Tracks. But Time Tracks was action, I'll give you that. But Time Tracks was not that popular. So I don't know how that became a video game and Highlander the series was not a video game. I say that as a diehard Highlander the series fan because that show was way better than it had any right to be when it was out during then. Then they did the shitty movie that combined the movie and TV and it was horrible. But anyway, Time Tracks is a bizarre... There's a lot of bad SNES games like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bebe's Kids.
Oh, yeah, there was a Bebe's Kids. I forgot about that.
There was. Yes. One of the worst games according to a certain Super Nintendo guidebook. Yes, there was. The Super Nintendo was that weird point in time where I think the tipping point was where you had a lot more... I guess you can pull off more animated stuff, so you had more of those properties. And, it was a weird time for licensed properties on the Super Nintendo. What are you looking up? Meredith Baxter Burney?
Time Tracks. On SNES. We've seen that come through a few times, and
It's
I've always
uncommon.
I always just assumed it was a racing game.
No, you didn't know it was... No?
No.
It was an action show about a guy like in the 24th century that goes back in time to capture fugitives from the future. It comes back in time. And he has like a virtual reality thing, and he can stop time, and he has a little a phaser built into like... It looks like a fucking car fucking alarm thing in his hand.
From Malibu Interactive.
Good old Malibu. They put out some quality titles back then. Actually, Time Tracks technically was a good game. I reviewed it. It was actually one of the only games I had known at the time that there was a slow motion power up thing. Not many games had that, especially back then. So you can actually slow down time, but you're still going quick, but everything else is slowed. It was like on a meter sort of thing. Very interesting. I like that game more I think about it. Sorry. Anything else? Any other? Super Nintendo had some weird freaking things going on.
No, I'm good.
We didn't mention any Genesis ones at all.
It's a great system.
There was no IPs that shouldn't have been on the Genesis.
There probably was, I'm sure. I'm just not thinking of any off the top of my head.
You think we bring up Total Recall?
Total
that should not have been no.
Total Recall is a weird one because that's not really an action.
It is action, but that's.
Again, I'm not concerned about violence. I'm concerned about is there anything to make a game out of.
Well, because RoboCop's really violent. RoboCop, you're playing as RoboCop makes sense.
Sure.
Total Recall is like, well, you got to find out who, like, if you're really the guy, and then you got your wife starts shooting at you, and then you start killing people horribly. A lot of it's Paul Verhoeven as well, coincidentally, ultra violent. That'd be like there's got to be a Titanic video game. There's got to be a Titanic video game that's inappropriate.
Not that I'm finding.
I thought that movie was inappropriate. Titanic movie video game. No, there was not one based upon the. There was lots of Titanic games, but they're not based on the movie. There you go.
Good.
Good work.